In this video, we're going to talk about lighting in Blender. So we will continue. We started in a previous video by talking about the different types of lights that we have at our disposal. Now in this video, we're going to concentrate on a particular technique called 3-point lighting. And we're going to see how we can use some presets and also add-ons. And also how we can set up the 3-point lighting ourselves with this simple photographic studio that we're also going to see how we can set up. And we're going to use a couple of subjects here just to do an example, but you can use this technique for many different situations, like for marketing, if you want to do photo like modeling, for shooting and TV series, movies, and so on. So it's used in many different fields. Now you can see here that I'm using these different lights, but you can also set up your own lighting. So starting from that, you can build upon it and create many different types of situations, like really dramatic lighting or something more mild and so on. Now in the previous video also we talked about lights. This was the previous scene, and we started to create some renderings using the viewport shading. Now, a couple of tips about using the render here in the viewport. So if you go and activate this tab here, you can also deactivate all the axes and everything that is going to go in the way here in the view. So you can basically deactivate everything to clean out the render. So this is not the final render, but you can use it as something final if you deactivate everything in the view like that, so that you don't have anything in the way. And also when you use the sampling here in cycles, you can bump up this value to 1024, and also you can decrease the level of noise threshold. This is going to increase the quality of your render, and also use the noise to get rid of the noise that's going to appear. So using these settings, you can achieve already nice results also here in the viewport without actually going in the render. And when you finish to render, so you press this one here is gonna start to render. You just need to wait a lot, and it's gonna give you a nice image, like really clean without noise and so on. Well, maybe the only thing that can be helpful here is statistics. So it's gonna show you here, sorry, text info. It's going to show you the sample. So when this one here reaches 1024, then you have the maximum quality for the moment, but you can also bump that up. And again, we're going to talk about rendering later. And also another thing I want to show you is if you go here to window, you can save the screenshot. This is going to save a screenshot of the whole scene, or you can save the screenshot editor. In this case, you can click on this window here. It's going to save only this part of your scene, so it's gonna actually create a render. So just to show you a couple of results, this is EV renderer without actually using cycle. So this is all viewport and the lighting setup, and here this is with cycles, and you can see everything has been hidden and the whole interface has been saved into the screenshot. I also created here only the part concerning the editor, so you got only this view here, and then you can work with this. For example, in Photoshop or GIMP, you can just cut out the part that you don't need, and that's already an actual render. But again, we're going to talk about rendering later on in the course. Now let's get started with a simple cube here in Blender. And the easiest way to create a scene or a photographic studio is to use this one here and just increase the size. So let's set this to 4 meters times 4 meters times 4 meters. So it's gonna be bigger, and I will select everything in edit mode. We'll select all the faces here, and now with the shift key I'm gonna start to select the faces that I want to keep. So I'm gonna keep this one here, this one here. It's like creating a C letter, and I'm gonna press delete and get rid of everything else, and not the edges, sorry. So delete and use faces. Okay, now I'm going to use the bevel modifier. So click there and just click and drag, and I'm gonna bevel the corners. So well, let me just go back and do that again. So when you do this, you expand down here and then you increase the segments so that you create a nice rounded corners there, and switch to object mode and right click and do shade smooth, so everything is gonna be smoothed. Now let's switch back to edit mode, select the edges, and I'm going to alt click so I can select all these loop, and then I will move this to make this a little bit bigger. Now if I want to keep this in the center, I can select all the vertices. So I'm gonna alt click and shift alt click, and I'm gonna scale this like this, so it's gonna be like symmetric. Now if you search for photographic studio set on the web, you will find many images and you will always see this background here. Well, it's pretty similar, so we are trying to simulate this situation, and you will see many times that they will use this 3-point lightning technique or similar in this business. So again, you can use this for marketing and industrial design objects, so to create like advertising and so on, or modeling and things like that. So what we need now is to have some lights and also a subject that we need to illuminate. We want to use to create an example. So in that case, okay, before we actually talk about the 3-point lightning, I will show you where to get the models that I've used. Now for the model here, I've selected this one here, even though it doesn't have the legs. Well, this is kind of photogrammetry example. So it's like a 3D model generated with a series of images, and the author here needs to be in the video. So if you click here in the download 3D model, well, you need to create an account. This is Sketchfab. So you go to Sketchfab, you can search for Samantha03 in the search bar. There you go, and click there. And again, this is the author, and the license here is with attribution. So it's completely free, but you need to credit the author, and there it is. This is the author right here, and you can support him and see other 3D models. So this is for the female model that I'm gonna use. And for the industrial design example, I'm gonna use the sofa here. So this one here is from Polyhaven. So you go to polyhaven.com and go to models. Just scroll down there, you will find many sofas, and I've selected this one here, but there are also others. Now the good thing about this one here is that this is already a Blender file. So you can download it by clicking download. And again, here, this is the author, CC0 license, thanks to the author, and if you want, you can donate as well. So this one here, it's not in Blender format, so we need to do some fixing, but this one will come right as it is without any trouble. So you click here, select Blender file, click download. Also you can select bigger textures, and everything will come together, and we're gonna see this in just a minute. Now there are also some add-ons if you want to create nice lighting, but this one here is called Add-on Pro Lighting Studio, and this is I think not free, so you need to buy it. But what I'm trying to say is that always investigate for add-ons, because they can solve a lot of problems, they can help you out, they can speed up your work. Now there is also one inside Blender already that it's totally free, and it's already pre-installed, that I'm going to show you in just a minute. So I've downloaded these files, and so the first one is gonna be in the sofa, and it's in Blender from Polyhaven. So I'm gonna go here into the folder, and this is the sofa. So usually you need to extract those. They will come in zipped files, so just extract them. And here you just need to double click and open it up. You don't need to do anything. Now this is the fastest way you can bring in assets into your scene. So let's wait for this to open up, and there you go. So you can see that it already has set up an interface. Now all we need to do is just select the seat here and the base, and then Control C to copy, Control C, and then you can bring this down and go here and do Control V, and there's your couch right there. Now it's you can rotate it, of course, and perhaps we can move everything up, the entire setup. There you go. And you can see it's already in scale, so you need to do really anything here, just place it and it will be ready to go. Remember to switch here into the texture shading so you can see the textures already, and everything it's already set up for you. You don't need to do anything. Now let's go to import the female model. So I'm gonna go to File, and this is gonna be in OBJ, I think. So I'm gonna navigate into the folder where I stored this file. It's gonna be Samantha03. You can see you have always textures on one side, on one folder, and sources in another. So you can see it's OBJ. Now OBJ, FBX, all those, these are not Blender native, so usually you need to fix them up a little bit. So let's see what happens here. You can see it's gonna take more time. You need to be more patient. And now you can see it's right there, but it's not, well, rotated in the correct way. It has the origin pretty far. So the first thing, let's fix the origin. Right click, set origin, origin to geometry. This is gonna help us to rotate it and place it in a correct way. Okay, and you can see it doesn't have the last part of the legs, but so this is also why I've chosen to place it behind a sofa, so I can hide that little defect, but the rest is pretty nice and it's well done. So I'm gonna place it something like that, and you can see it doesn't have textures. So this is a problem again that we need to fix. So to do that, I'm gonna go into the material tab, and we're also gonna talk specifically about materials later in other videos. So this video, I'm just gonna concentrate on applying that base color right there. I'm gonna click on this little dot, and I need to assign a texture, and specifically an image texture. So if I click there, you can see that I can, well, now it's kind of black. So let's click on the